Greetings to the esteemed members of the Congressional Black Caucus. On behalf of all long-term care residents like myself in Illinois and throughout the United States, thank you for your time. I present before you today concerns about staffing levels of nurses and certified nursing assistants, known as CNAs, in long-term care facilities. Speaking from remarks I prepared, I will discuss my personal experience living in what I feel is an understaffed long-term care facility. I'll give you a glimpse into the life of a long-term care resident with arguments for additional nurses and CNAs. My name is Scott Mitchell, and I'm a Black American, and I'm also a veteran. At 17 years old, I went into Marine Corps boot camp, served for 4 years in aviation ordnance. I served honorably, but I was disappointed that I did not receive promotion to sergeant when I was a corporal. So I left the Marine Corps, but 6 weeks later, I joined the Army. And within months, was promoted to sergeant. Communications, uh, and I served for 3 years there honorably. Now, unrelated military experience to my military service, I gradually became a quadriplegic diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, or MS, back in December of 2004. I was able to create this speech speaking every word and punctuation mark out loud to my iPad. I'm 57 years old, and just under 3 weeks, and in just under 3 weeks, will have lived in this long-term care facility for 8 years. The facility has a resident council run by residents with the leadership being a resident president and a resident vice president. I have been elected president for the residents for a combined total of 3.5 years, and I'm the current resident council president. The facility I live in is considered a large facility in terms of the number of residents in the facility. And today, and not including those that are in the hospital, there are about 170 residents at the moment I asked for this number. This is a 4-story building with the top 3 floors for living quarters. Some rooms are shared with one other resident, and other rooms house a single resident. I interact with the nurses and the CNAs throughout the day. As far as staffing levels seem to go, residents feel like there are never enough nurses and CNAs to call on. On my particular floor, the shift may start out with 4 or 5 CNAs for 62 residents. However, if a CNA gets pulled to work on another floor that is short-staffed, and another CNA decides to leave and go home for some reason, They are then down to 3 CNAs on my floor. Unfortunately, that's what happens often. And a CNA is responsible to care for up to 20 residents. So that's 20 residents per CNA, which is a lot. When it comes to nurses, sometimes there are 3 nurses on my floor for all of those residents, but sometimes there are just only 2 nurses on the floor caring for each of those residents, all the while completing extensive paperwork for all those admissions. Being a quadriplegic, I need the CNAs to do almost everything for me. I ask every day for my teeth to be brushed and my face to be washed, but it doesn't always happen. It makes me feel unimportant. I mean, I'd like to believe that they brush their teeth every day, uh, this and every morning. Why can't they do it for me? Why can't they brush my teeth? And when I plan to eat in my room, but have not eaten breakfast or lunch or dinner in a timely manner, I do address it with the CNAs or with my nurse. I'm usually one of the last uh, residents on my floor to eat because I've actually been told by more than one CNA over the years that, quote, feeding you is time consuming, it's too time consuming. And also, I've been told that you're too particular about your food. Comparatively, those residents who are able to take themselves into the dining room, either by walking or by pushing themselves in their wheelchair, are given their trays and they're able to eat before residents that are not in the dining room. Residents that stay in their rooms must wait to get their room tray. When I am in my room and I haven't eaten in 30 minutes, I press my call light with the tip of my elbow to let my CNA know I need them. I will escalate issues like that to my nurse and other issues like that to the assistant director of nursing or even to the director of nursing. Like all residents, I'm dependent on these individuals for my survival and dignity. As far as the time it takes for call lights to be answered, it could be faster. It might take 15 or 20 minutes for my call light to be answered on an average day. Now, I should make the distinction that there's a difference between a call light being turned off in 5 minutes, let's say, by anyone passing by, and the problem actually being solved in 30 minutes by my specific CNA. When there are only 3 CNAs on the floor with 20 residents per CNA, realistically, it takes 30 minutes before they get to me. If I need a CNA to help me with my iPad, this delay might be all right. Waiting 20 to 30 minutes for a CNA when there's a more pressing personal issue is difficult and it's frustrating. So in closing, I hope I helped the caucus understand a little bit more about why we need more nurses and more CNAs throughout the United States in our long-term care facilities. An able-bodied person may take it for granted that they will never need a nurse or a certified nursing assistant for the rest of their lives. I felt that way. I felt the same way. I did, but my life certainly did not end up like that. Thank you for your time.